Thanksgiving Sunday, November 26th. Join us for a special free preview episode of the Reviewing Network Live right here on the main YouTube channel. If you've yet to check out our other channel for the first time ever, you'll get to see a full-length episode of our free-form stream of consciousness recording session looking back on the past week in entertainment news, the weekend box office results, some recommendations, along with some other fun topics of discussion, and it's all going to be right here on the Reviewing Network YouTube channel. And if you do like what you see, subscribe to the Reviewing Network Live YouTube channel using the link down below. Hope to see you there. So there was a story on IGN that came out last week, and it was a story that really should not be a big deal regardless, but as soon as that story came out on IGN, everybody all of a sudden just completely just stopped what they were doing. I mean, yeah, I know there was an actor strike still going on as early as last week, but this was so freaking stupid that they actually made a story about this. After 34 years, The Simpsons is stepping away from senseless violence. That's right, Homer will no longer strangle Bart. This is literally how the article starts. During an episode of The Simpsons that aired, Homer reveals he finally changed his ways when he and Marge visited their new neighbor Thayer after introducing himself to the Springfield newcomer. Thayer comments on how firm his handshake is and says, "See, Marge, strangling the boy paid off." And he said, "Just kidding. I don't do that anymore. Times have changed." And I've got the clip right here.
Whoa, that's quite a grip.
See, Marge? Strangling the boy has paid off. Just kidding. I don't do that anymore. Times have changed.
There you go. This 10-second line, and everybody completely lost their mind over this. But, let's really delve into this. There's some things I forgot to tell you about with this story. So this happened, you're thinking that this happened in a more recent episode, maybe during the Treehouse of Horror episode. But, that aired on that same day, I should say. But, nope. This happened 3 weeks ago on an episode called McMansion and Wife. It's the third episode of season 35. I know this because I saw this episode, and I know that this scene happened because it's literally in the first 5 minutes, and even then, it's a 10-second bit. Why are we losing our mind over this 3 weeks later? Like, it makes no sense whatsoever why this is even a story to begin with. And it's clear that the people who've been watching this really have no idea that The Simpsons is actually good again. And you haven't even noticed, maybe, that Homer doesn't strangle Bart as much anymore. It's been like this for a while now. The last time Homer strangled Bart was back in season 31 between 2019 and 2020. It's been a topic of contention long before that Homer attending a father enrichment class back in season 22. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar teaches Homer a lesson, strangling him in result. So that happened almost 13 years ago. So why are we making a big deal out of this? You know who's making a big deal out of this? The people that don't watch The Simpsons anymore. Because if you watch The Simpsons, like I said, you would know that the show actually has gotten better in the last couple of years. I've done videos talking about how The Simpsons has gotten better over the last couple of years. And you know what? They don't do a lot of the same running gags they used to do back in the day. And I say good. If as long as the show is still entertaining, and that's not the only things that I look to regardless, that's fine with me. Like, I don't care. Like, I really do not care if Homer strangles his son ever again. Which, you know, the producers eventually saw with this and basically called these people out on this. This was a story that came out just a couple of days later. This is from Variety. Homer Simpson's reported decision to stop strangling his son Bart has fans talking, at least on the internet. That's what everyone, of course, has an opinion. Now, the executive producer behind The Simpsons has put together a response in animated form, and this is this really hilarious this piece of animation where Homer's strangling Bart and Homer saying, "Why, you little clickbaiting thing," and it's basically Homer strangling Bart with a phone that says "Simpsons no more strangling," and their one comment is that they said, Homer Simpson was unavailable for comment as he was busy strangling Bart, and more power to him, man. That's a great way to basically call off the blowback, because there is no reason why this needed to be news whatsoever. I saw people making videos about this for no reason whatsoever. Like, the fact that this thing set off millions of social media posts and think posts, like, it really does not make any sense whatsoever. And basically, a lot of these people became the real life version of the Simpson meme, old man shakes fist at cloud. I mean, this is how it really has gotten. I like how it also says here, but as noted by true Simpsons fans, which I am, Homer had actually stopped Strangling Bart several seasons ago, with the last documented event taking place during season 31. The show's producers and loyal viewers were taken aback by the rabid reaction this past week, given the fact that this is actually old news. 3 weeks old. Why wasn't anybody saying this beforehand? Like, why wasn't anybody saying this when this episode came out on October 22nd? Because they needed something to talk about. Because they want to badmouth The Simpsons, because they still are this belief that, The Simpsons hasn't been funny in over 20 years. It's like, if you get one of those people, just ask them one simple question. When's the last time you watched The Simpsons? And you know what the response is going to be? Oh, I haven't watched it in 20 years. I just saw it because it was on social media. There you go. You need to shut the hell up. I mean, because you're not making any sense right now. And, there are things that you can there are rightful criticisms towards the show, but that I've talked about before, like the whole thing about Marge's voice. Like, everyone's like, well, Marge is getting up there in age. She shouldn't be, Julie Kavanaugh shouldn't be doing this anymore. They shouldn't be forcing her to do this. Nobody's really forcing her to do this. If she really needed to retire, don't you think she would have enough rights to go up to them and say, hey guys, I feel like I need to take this, I need to retire from this character and hand it off to somebody else? No, she clearly is having fun playing that character after so many years. And in the last couple of years, there's been episodes that have done a pretty good job of using that to her advantage. Like last year's Halloween episode in the Poopadook segment actually worked very well, where she's basically the Babadook in that one. And then this year we had a great episode where, Marge has to basically come to the fact that she's going to get older and everybody's going to eventually get away from her at some point. There's this really great episode, I'm trying to remember what it was called, A Mid-Childhood's Night's Dream. It's the second episode that aired this year. And basically you have a story, it's a story where Marge has food poisoning and she ends up getting these nightmares about her children growing up too fast and leaving her as an empty nester. And she's trying to help with the preparations for this Bountathon event, which Bart and Lisa which Bart's growing out of and Lisa's still very much in love with. And it's a very good episode, and it's a really good emotional episode. Like, a lot of these episodes, what I like about what The Simpsons has been doing nowadays is that they're kind of returning to what made the original season so special in terms of the emotional aspects. But it's not just the emotional aspects from the struggles of the original series. Like, the struggles of dealing with schoolwork, the struggles of dealing with baldness, the struggles of dealing with possible marital affairs. Like, you're dealing stuff with anxiety, like in this episode, being an empty nester, the fear of missing out, all these different elements here. And they've been doing a really good job at handling these storylines. And I think a lot of people sadly overlook this fact because of the fact that it's not the same Simpsons that it was 20 years ago. It's like it's gone away, but you could still find every episode on here. You can even find the banned episodes like Stark Raving Dad. You can still go find them in stores somewhere, and they're still on. And that episode is still online somewhere. I hate that it is still a banned episode, because the thing that caused it to be banned turned out to be absolute bullshit, and that was the Michael Jackson Finding Neverland documentary, which even the people that made it clearly admitted that this was something that there was nothing in there that everybody didn't know about already. But that's one of those stupid decisions, but that The Simpsons have done that I can't really get behind per se. I still think that episode should be seen by everybody because it's a really good episode. The way they handled Apu's exit hasn't been really that strong, although someone said that they were going to tackle that this year, so I don't know if they're still going to do that or not, but I don't know. I feel like that this whole thing with everybody losing their mind about Homer not strangling Bart anymore, it's clickbait. It's just really clickbait. If you didn't notice it 2 weeks ago when you were on social media and you saw people saying stuff like, oh, Homer says he doesn't strangle his son anymore, this would not be a big news story. But I think because we had the writer's strike, we had not the actor's strike going on, and there was nothing else to talk about, this had to be the big news story that everyone had to cover. And it's one of those things where the Animaniacs Please, Please, Please Get a Life Foundation really needs to come into place, because you people really need to get a life, man. You've got a problem with The Simpsons? Don't watch The Simpsons anymore. You know what? I still like The Simpsons. It's a Sunday tradition in my home, so I'm still gonna watch it regardless of what anybody says. So, yeah, I don't care that Homer doesn't strangle his son anymore. And even if he doesn't, Okay, it was a good run while it lasted. You know, there's other running gags in the show that they don't do anymore. Nothing gets randomly set on fire anymore. Nobody ever says anything about that. Mr. Burns doesn't forget Homer's name anymore. Bart doesn't prank call Moe as much as he usually does. I mean, there's been a lot of running gags from this show that have been not been there for a long period of time. But this is the one that we're getting really upset about. Like, just get a life, people. Seriously, like. I wanted to talk about that because that just really irked me that people out there made this a much bigger story than it had any right to be. This did not need to be a big story for something that happened 3 weeks ago. If you didn't figure it out, if you didn't see it 3 weeks ago, then you shouldn't be then it shouldn't even be bothering you to begin with. So.